Step one complete for the LA Clippers. Go into Phoenix and get a W. But game two usually really favors the team that's at home and down 1-0 to tie it up. What do the Clippers need to do to get a game two win and make it a 2-0 series? What will the Phoenix Suns do to adjust? And what should we expect going into it? Gonna be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, in my 18th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod, and of course, subscribe to my own YouTube channel and podcast, Dime Dropper, where I went live to talk about Monday night's amazing playoff games. But in this episode of Locked On Clippers, and Locked On Clippers is free and available on all your favorite podcasting platforms, including YouTube, and you let me know what your expectation is for Game 2. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Don't have to worry about last-minute tickets being stressful if you have Game Time. I'm going to be talking more about Game Time later, but let's talk about what to expect from this Game 2. Now, historically, when the road team wins Game 1, almost all the time, the home team ends up bouncing back because they play with a sense of desperation. The crowd also understands the situation, and they end up getting it done. You know, let me give an example. The Clippers in 2014 lost that game 1 to Golden State. I was at both the first two home games. I was actually at every game of that first round. And I was sitting in the 300 section, Game 2. We were playing the Warriors, and they just didn't even come to play. And we beat the absolute snot out of them. And that gave us more confidence than need be. Now, granted, we were the higher seed. I don't think it was a confidence thing as to why we won the series. I think we were the better team, but it more so gives you more momentum than you need, and it lets you get too easy of a win. I think the Clippers in Game 5 against the Rockets, sorry to remind everybody, I know, listen, it's tough for me to even say things about it as well. But in Game 5 against the Rockets, I think a huge mistake was that Clipper team was ready to go back for Game 6 and seal that series, in which they didn't do. They gave Houston too much momentum. They didn't make him work enough for the win. So what I want to see is the Clippers make the Suns work for that win. I expect Phoenix to win this game. I don't think I'm a bad fan for that. I think I'm thinking logically, but at the same time, why not, right? Why can't the Clippers win it? Clippers lost both of the home games against the Mavs, and people didn't expect that. This Suns team is still very new. They're clearly not very deep. And I feel like they're still figuring things out, whereas the Clippers, we've made every mistake in the book to figure things out. Finally, Ty decided on a rotation that he started to play as the season closed. And the individuals are, for the most part, playing pretty good basketball. And I think the main thing was to get Norman Powell playing good basketball before the season and given Paul George was out. Because Russ, he was playing better basketball after those first 5 games. And even in those first 5 games that he lost as a Clipper, he wasn't playing poorly in all of them. Kawhi Leonard's been amazing since December. Nicholas Batum, he's been hit or miss this season with his shot, but you know what you're going to get from him more often than not. Terrence Mann, he hasn't been great to end the season. He was much better before Russ came because his role was bigger. But playoff Terrence, I have trust in him. He showed up in Game 1 with double-figure scoring, played solid defense, even though passed up a couple layups. So Clippers can very well win Game 2, but I just wouldn't expect it, and I wouldn't be mad if they didn't either. The Clippers are playing with house money, but that's what could make this game that much more dangerous for Phoenix in a way, because we have nothing to lose, really. If we go up 2-0, they're in danger of getting swept. Now they're in real trouble. They are going to be made fun of at that point. But if they split, I think they're still feeling decently that they can come back here and get one of the games. So, and the Clippers haven't been a very good home team. So at the same time, the Clippers shouldn't just treat it like this is the game that the home team usually wins when you steal a game on the road. Nah, you got to come out and make them work for it and possibly go win that game. Treat it just like you did game one. Make them play that much better. Because here's the thing. If the Clippers play like they did in game one with that kind of defensive intensity, and then offensively they still generate the same kind of shots, there's a chance that the role players just have one of those games where they're hitting a lot more from three. I mean, we are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league, and we only shot, 33% in game one, 32%. So we're going to have better shooting games than that. It's just a matter of if that game is happening on Tuesday night. But at the same time, these games are, they're comfortable for me. 2014, in the second round, we beat the Thunder in game one. Chris Paul went crazy. And then game two, I thought we made the Thunder work. And I had a chill time watching the game, I'm not going to lie. So I kind of want that kind of experience. And it's been a while since I've had that experience, so it's nice. It's going to be, I think, pretty stress-free watching the game. But then if it gets close, I might get stressed because it's like if it's right there for the taking and we can go up 2-0, I mean, that could win you the series right there, really. Because now all you got to do is just get one game at home and you have a 3-1 lead. But honestly, I don't know if I want a 3-1 lead. Oh, man. The point is, what I would expect is the Suns to play like their lives depend on it. I think Phoenix is going to come out and play super, super hard. I think the Clippers just have to match. It's going to be really hard, I'm not going to lie, to match their energy and desperation. And I won't be mad at the Clippers for not, but I just don't want to see them roll over. I don't want to see them just get blown out and just be like, all right, well, wait, go back to game three, back to LA for game three. No, I want to see them make the Suns sweat a little bit, put some pressure on them. And hopefully, I think big performances from guys like Bones Highland and another good one from Eric Gordon, and then maybe Russ starts hitting his shots. That could help a lot. And I'm pretty sure Kawhi Leonard will have a very solid game. If he can have a game at the level that he did in game one, I mean, that instills a level of fear into the opposition. Because when you get Kawhi going, you saw it happen in game one. You saw what he's done in the past. If he gets going, then that also has a kind of a chain reaction in a sense that if you start helping, you start doubling on him, he starts getting other guys open shots and they start hitting like I talked about, then it becomes trouble for Phoenix. But coming up, going to be talking about what kind of changes they can make. How would you look at it from a Suns perspective? And what would you do to adjust to the Clippers? What should we expect in that sense? Going to be talking about that coming up. But before I do that, I got to tell you about game time. During Game 4 of the Clippers-Suns Conference Finals in 2021, I didn't think I was going to go to the game. But then last minute, I was just like, I cannot sit at home and watch this game. Clippers had just... The crowd had just been insulted for not showing up to start a tip-off or whatever because the traffic was just so bad and it was a 6 o'clock start. But the point is, I had trouble getting tickets and I had to pay a fortune for them. And buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Clippers your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow on the show, listen to this podcast. Oh my God, I butchered that one. Everydayers, tomorrow on the show, listen to the post-game episode. It's going to be a good one, win or lose. Hopefully, the Clippers are up 2-0. And when I said it's going to be a good one, win or lose, I'm talking about the podcast, not the game. If it's a loss, it's not going to be a good game. You know why? Because I said so, and because I'm a Clipper fan. So if we lose every time, it's a bad game. Only exception, regular season. In the playoffs, if we lose a heartbreaker, it's not a classic to me. It's not a good game. I'm not watching that game again. But anyway, so what to expect from a Suns perspective? I think if you're Phoenix, you got to put Booker, Ayton, KD, and CP3. Two of those guys have to be on the court at all times. What they did at the end of the third quarter and put Booker out there with the rest of their bench, which is not a good bench, they can't do that. They don't have the luxury to do that. The Clippers have better players, point blank. I think another adjustment Monty Williams is going to make, and Monty Williams took a lot of criticism for this game. Everyone's saying Ty Lue got the better of him. So for all the stuff we've said about Ty Lue, Clipper Nation, this season and the regular season that he had and the mistakes and the tinkering and all that, 1-0 over Monty Williams. He got the job done. So, let's see if he can get 2. But Monty's going to respond, and I think one of the things he's going to do is I think he's going to play TJ Warren. I think that the Suns lacked some scoring off the bench. It just felt like still too dependent on the big four, whoever was in of that quartet. But TJ Warren is a guy that can come off the bench, hit tough shots, and just get buckets. He's a bucket getter. Easy 15 points a game back in Indiana. And I think that they may use him because I feel like the Suns are still figuring out that bench rotation. They still haven't had many games with KD, so it's kind of been tough. They have a bunch of players kind of around the same level, so it's really hard to kind of choose that permanent rotation when you really haven't had the time to experiment. So this kind of is his experimentation, Monty Williams. And I think we're also going to see more of Josh Okogie. Because the Clippers beat the Suns on the board so bad in terms of like Russell Westbrook and Terrence Mann and those late game rebounds, Josh Okogie adds athleticism to the Suns, and I think that he did a good job rebounding towards the end of the season. So the fact that he didn't play much, I was pretty shocked, especially considering he's a good defender as well. I get that they wanted to go with Torrey Craig for the size purposes. And look, I think he did a decent job defensively. He clearly had a solid game offensively, but that was in the game plan. And Torrey Craig, he had the audacity on Monday to say, I knew I was going to have a good game because Zubats was guarding me. First of all, he's talking like he was going one-on-one against Zoo. The whole plan was to put Zoo on Torrey Craig because he's the least threatening offensive player. We want Zoo to roam and be ready to help. We're giving you open shots because we don't want to give the players on your team that are better than you open shots or shots at all. So Torrey Craig talking all spicy like that, we'll see if that ends up biting him in the butt. But if it's a Zubats got a double-double and the W, Torrey Craig. So no disrespect. But I think Josh Okogie will be playing more for the Suns, so expect that. Maybe a little TJ Warren, but I think the main problem besides the whole, I think 2 of the big 4 should be in at all times. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, these guys played the entire fourth quarter. KD shot 5 times, and 4 of those shots were within the first 6 minutes. From 6:45 or so, it was about that, to 1:15, it was over 5 minutes without a shot attempt for KD. Over 5 minutes without a shot attempt in a close game in the fourth quarter. That is just unacceptable if you're the Suns coaching staff, if you're Kevin Durant. He needs to get shots up. That's just a total bailout for us. Unbelievable. And then Devin Booker only shot 4 times in the fourth quarter, and he went a good 6 minutes before shooting. He hadn't shot since the 6-minute mark before getting blocked by Russ. So, the other guys, especially Chris Paul getting shots, he was 0 for 4 in the fourth. I think Monty Williams is going to make a concerted effort to just get Kevin Durant a lot of shots in this game by any means necessary. And that means putting him in isolation situations. That means, drawing up a bunch of plays for him to come off pin downs, come off screens. Just plays designed for Kevin Durant to score more and shoot more. 15 shot attempts is not enough. I know that was probably discussed in the locker room, and I think they're going to try to get KD 20-plus shot attempts in this one and just encourage him to be uber aggressive because at the end of the day, it's still Kevin Durant. He is still the best player on this team, one of the best players in the league. Some might argue maybe the best player in the league. And as far as Devin Booker, I think with Kevin Durant and D-Book, I think one adjustment they're going to make is it was a little too much Chris Paul handling the ball, in my opinion, in the second half. Yes, he's the best decision maker in the pick and roll, but I think they're going to just literally stick him in the corner more in the fourth quarter especially and have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant initiate the offense and pick and roll more and more as the series continues. Because Chris Paul, he is good for initiating, but it seems like he rarely just throws the ball to them coming off screens. He does sometimes, it feels like, but a lot of times it feels like when he brings up the ball, they get into some kind of pick and roll action. But I think that KD, Book are going to set, screens for each other and run kind of Spain pick and roll actions and those kind of split double drag actions that they really love, where they set two screens and do different things. Like one guy will roll, one guy will pop out, and having Devin Booker and Kevin Durant as that pop out guy coming off the screen, I think they'll run more of those kind of sets with Devin Booker and KD initiating, so at least they'll be able to potentially get their own shot as well coming off those screens. So in conclusion, I think Monty Williams is going to play TJ Warren, play Josh Okogie more, not take three of the big four out at once, and just draw up more sets for KD and Booker to score, especially Kevin Durant, 20-plus kind of shots. And as far as if you're the Suns, from a player perspective, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant need to be aggressive, especially Kevin Durant. It's not just coaching staff this, game plan this. You got to go be aggressive. This is basketball. Go take over the game. You think Monty Williams is going to get super mad at Kevin Durant for demanding the ball? I don't think so. As far as defensively, I wouldn't really do much different if I were the Suns. I think that you may have a decision to double-team Kawhi Leonard. The loading up doesn't work on mid-range snipers. So are you going to make those decisions to hard double? That would maybe give the Clippers better looks from three, though. I think I would honestly just stay with what they were doing, to be honest. Maybe throw some doubles at him, but definitely not double the whole game. Same thing with Russ. Kevin Durant guards him. Let him shoot from the outside. But those are the adjustments I would make for the Suns. So as for the Clippers, in terms of countering that, I would say the Clippers just got to play their game. Just do exactly what they did in game one. Make them adjust and see where they adjust. And if things, we're probably going to lose the game, then we come back in game three and learn from what we did wrong. See what they did and counter that. It's just a game of adjustments. Every single game is just a game of adjustments in a playoff series. Now, granted, the Clippers, if they play with the same defensive intent, that's really what it all comes down to, is those words, defensive intensity. If they come out with the same kind that they did in game one, they're going to compete in this game and they may be able to steal it. And if we go up 2-0, oh my goodness. You can't wait for that post-game episode. I'm going to be like giddy as can be. But I wouldn't get my hopes up for that too much, to steal 2 games in Phoenix. But I'm really proud of the boys. We did our job. We got what we needed, and that was a split at minimum in Phoenix going back to Los Angeles. But coming up, everybody was talking about was that the Phoenix Suns was the bad matchup for the Clippers. You don't want to play them in the first round. The Clippers should have gone to the other side of the bracket. Well, based on recent evidence, I'm going to talk about why the Suns probably was the best matchup for the Clippers. But before I do that, I got to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy entry app that we have ever seen in the world. And Prize Picks, the projections available versus you. And on Tuesday, I'm taking Jason Tatum with the over on the points, and I'm taking Trae Young on the over with the points because he didn't have a good game one. So that's what I'm going with. And how do you do it? You just got to pick 2 to 6 players and predict that they will score more or less than their Prize Picks projection. And Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. That's not just NBA. That could be MLB, NHL, where the playoffs are in full bloom, and entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe and fast withdrawals, and currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Just download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. All right. To close out, I got to talk about what to expect from the Clippers, and then the reason why the Suns matchup was the better one, honestly. So, what to expect from the Clippers? Honestly, I don't know what to expect from the Clippers. I know that's a lame answer, but you just don't know which Clipper team you're going to get on a given night this season. We got the good kind in game one, and just given the circumstances, I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of were lazy. I hope they're not. This would really show us a lot as fans, in my opinion, if they come out with the same exact attitude in game one, and at the very minimum, make it tough for the Suns to win. Make them grind for that win so they can tire them out. And this honestly segues me into my next point. The reason when I say tire them out is the Clippers' whole weakness all season is that they're not very athletic, they're old, they're slow, they lack speed. Well, the Phoenix Suns may be even less athletic, slower, and older. And the Clippers looked more athletic than them in game one. Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, Russell Westbrook, even Kawhi Leonard. I mean, I think this was honestly the perfect matchup for the Clippers because the pace really favors us, playing this half-court game. I think we have more chemistry as a unit, and I think there's less questions, People really think that you can just put all this talent together and they can just go out there and hoop with no issues. Like, it takes no time to do these things together. Pecking order matters. You might say, oh, it doesn't matter, who takes the last shot or who takes over the game or whose team it is and all that. No, I disagree, because when push comes to shove and it's close games, there are decisions to be made. Who are you going to get the ball to create the shot? And, it kind of felt like Devin Booker, Kevin Durant didn't want to step on each other's toes. But Kevin Durant needs to be the guy if this Phoenix team wants to go all the way. And I'm a big Devin Booker fan in terms of the way he plays. I really like his game. Kevin Durant, I also like his game. I always have since I was a kid. It's just a different level of player. As much as Devin Booker is the franchise player in Phoenix and he's the guy that they drafted, Kevin Durant needs to be the guy that they go to late in the games primarily. And anything other than that is bailing the Clippers out. So we'll take it all day long. I'm just excited to see Kawhi and Russ. The one thing is, I think Russell Westbrook is going to shoot better. I mean, it doesn't take much to shoot better than what he did in game one. But we'll see if he brings that same defensive intensity and energy. Because if he does, and he shoots better, has a better offensive game, Clippers got a really good chance to win. Because it seems like when Russ has a good offensive game, other guys are starting to make shots. I feel like the two are intertwined because Russ will, create so many open threes and all that kind of stuff. But also, could we due for a Norman Powell or Bones Highland explosion? I don't know. I don't think the Clippers actually played that crazy offensively in the first game. If they can bring the same energy defensively, I think there's a really good chance we win, because offensively, we might be due for a better game. But the Phoenix Suns, mainly the reason why I think it was a great matchup now is because the pace, and because they don't have that many guys that are speedy off the bounce. We just got to contest Kevin Durant and Devin Booker shots best we can and just hope they miss. Like, there was one possession, for example, where KD had Terrence Mann on him in the post, and he faded away for a turnaround over the right shoulder. We've seen KD make that shot since he was a rookie, basically. But an 18-footer with a hand in his face, even though it's barely a contest, I'm taking Terrence Mann doing that with his long arms than Terrence Mann having to fight over a screen against a De'Aaron Fox. Which brings me to the main reason why I made this part of this episode. The Golden State Warriors are down 2-0 against the Kings. And I have never seen a higher seed get this much disrespect in a first-round series like this. And you know what? It's fair, because Golden State are the 4-time champions, 4 in the last 8 years, the defending champions. But this is why I've been preaching all season in regards to the Clippers, that regular season does matter. And I do think that the regular season record does show how good you are, because if you do have injuries, if you haven't been playing good basketball, well, there are other teams that have. They have that sort of rhythm. Granted, of course, not winning, having a higher seed or having a better record doesn't guarantee that you're a better team or guarantee that you're going to win a series. But I think for the most part, it does show what kind of team you are. And Golden State could very well go on and win that series, but the Sacramento Kings are showing that they are going to play a breakneck pace. And the Clippers, I don't know, especially without Paul George, if we could have kept up. Like, everyone says the game slows down in the playoffs, but when they play at that stadium, it is a whole different ball game. These are NBA Finals level decibel levels in Sacramento right now. It is so hard, because if you can't get stops, every basket that place gets jumping. It is tough to win there. And just given the circumstances, having not been to the playoffs in 17 years, they are so determined to prove everyone wrong. Everyone was saying they want to play them. That's the better side of the bracket. No one's scared of Sacramento. Their defense is bad. But they're showing that in the playoffs, when push comes to shove, they'll have game plans, they'll have schemes, and their individual defenders. De'Aaron, I don't consider De'Aaron Fox like a defender, but I've seen him play good defense throughout the course of his young career. Davion Mitchell, fantastic defender. These guys are trying harder. And, I do think there's also an advantage for the Kings against the Warriors because Mike Brown has coached was on the Warriors coaching staff. But at the same time, I don't know about that series for the Clippers, guys. They play so fast. I know Westbrook is fast, Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, but that's it. I mean, Eric Gordon, Nico Batum, even Kawhi, Mason Plumlee. I don't know if these guys could have kept up with Sacramento. But we'll see. That series is not over. My point is, I think right now, I may regret this, and I know it's really early. These comments could age poorly. But I think given Paul George is out, this is not a horrible matchup for the Clippers. Phoenix is still figuring things out. So I'm really curious to just see how this game goes. But I'm excited for it, and you should be too. It's the playoffs. It's so much fun. And the Clippers are playing with house money in this one. But let's get greedy. Let's get greedy. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I go live after every night of playoff basketball to talk about it, including Clipper games. And we'll be soon doing Clipper vlogs at the playoffs. It's going to be amazing. Locked On Clippers is free and available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Make sure you comment on today's pinned question after you hit the notification bell if you haven't, so every time we post a video. But comment on today's pinned question. What do you want to see in Game 2, or what do you expect to see? Let me know in the comments. And I also want to say Locked On Clippers continues to move up. Now I think 22nd out of the 30 NBA teams in terms of subscriber count on YouTube. So thank you so much for your continuous support. Best fans in the world. Remember, got to be loud on Thursday, but we're going to have more episodes before that. So the age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers. Thanks for making Locked On Clippers your first listen every day. And every day tomorrow on the show, going to be talking about hopefully another Clipper win. Go Clippers.